the hidden anxiety of the Xennial generation. There is a generation that grew up between two worlds. They are not fully Gen X. They are not fully millennials. They are Xennials, born between the late 1970s and mid-1980s. And their anxiety is different. Why? Because they grew up in one world but had to survive in another. Their childhood was analog, landline phones, paper maps, video stores, Saturday morning cartoons, playing outside without being tracked, long boredom, real conversations, real privacy. But their adulthood arrived in a digital storm. Smartphones, social media, online job applications, constant comparison, economic uncertainty, rising costs, remote work, the pressure to always be available. They learned patience before the world demanded instant replies. They knew what it felt like to be unreachable before silence became suspicious. They built friendships through presence before life became filtered through screens. Then suddenly, the rules changed. For many Xennials, the 2008 financial crisis was not just news. It hit them at the exact moment they were trying to build a life. They were supposed to be starting careers, buying homes, paying student loans, saving money, and becoming stable adults. Instead, jobs disappeared. Promotions stopped. Housing became harder. Retirement started feeling impossible. They were raised with one promise: go to school. Work hard. Stay loyal. Life will make sense. But adulthood taught them something different. You can work hard, and the system can still collapse around you. That kind of disappointment stays in the mind. Even when life looks stable, many Xennials still carry one hidden question. What if everything falls apart again? This is why their anxiety often looks quiet. It looks like checking the bank account too often. It looks like having a backup plan for every problem. It looks like being unable to fully relax even when things are going well. It looks like saying "I'm fine" while mentally calculating rent, bills, job security, medical costs, and emergency expenses. This is not weakness. This is learned uncertainty. Xennials are deeply capable people. But capability can become exhausting when it is built from survival. They also remember life before everyone performed happiness online. They remember when success was private, when photos stayed in albums, when mistakes faded into the past. Now they live in a world where everyone else's life is edited, polished, and constantly visible. They know social media is not real life, but they still feel the pressure. They know people only post highlights, but they still wonder if they are behind. Behind in money, behind in career, behind in marriage, behind in owning a home, behind in health, behind in peace. That is the emotional conflict of the Xennial generation. They are old enough to see the illusion, but young enough to still be affected by it. And maybe that is why they feel so tired. They have spent their whole lives adapting. From analog to digital, from office work to remote work, from job security to gig economy thinking, from private identity to public online presence, from slow life to constant noise. But constant adaptation has a cost. When the world changes once, people adjust. When the world changes again and again, people become alert. Xennials are not afraid of change because they cannot handle it. They are afraid because they have handled too much of it already. They had the best of both worlds, but they also carry the grief of both worlds. They miss the slower life they lost. They grieve the future they were promised. They grieve the idea that hard work alone could guarantee safety. And because many Xennials are practical and emotionally self-contained, they rarely call this grief by its real name. They call it stress. They call it being busy. They call it being realistic. But here is the truth. Xennials are not a lost generation. They are a bridge generation. They understand life before the noise, and they understand how to survive inside the noise. They can write a formal email and understand an internet trend. They remember privacy, but they know digital life. They can survive without technology, but they can also use it fluently. They are translators between older generations who distrust the digital world and younger generations who cannot imagine life without it. And yes, being the bridge is tiring, but it is also powerful. Because Xennials carry a rare kind of wisdom. They know progress is useful, but not everything old was useless. They know convenience is not the same as peace. They know identity does not have to disappear when the world changes. And maybe their anxiety is not just fear. Maybe it is memory. It remembers instability. It remembers disappointment. But it also remembers resilience. Every restart, every adjustment, every new skill learned, every moment they survived when life did not go as planned. The Xennial story is not just about nostalgia. It is about surviving between two worlds. It is about becoming an adult while adulthood itself was being rewritten. And beneath their quiet anxiety is something powerful. The ability to adapt without forgetting who they were before the world changed. So if you are a Xennial and you feel tired, uncertain, or quietly anxious, maybe you are not broken. Maybe you are carrying the weight of two worlds. And maybe your greatest strength is that somehow you learned how to live in both.